The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Current and Joseph Christina as they serve up the hottest photography news and commentary.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 186. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host Trevor Current. On last week's show, we talked about Time Magazine using Instagram photo for their May cover, Canon's 6D Mark II may be right around the corner, Leica M monochrome rangefinder, and the future of micro broadcasting. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at digitalphotographycafe.com and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/dphotocafe. Listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps, or subscribe through iTunes or RSS.
So, Joe, we're back. How you doing, my friend?
We are here. How's everything going, my friend?
Yeah, things are going good.
Excellent, excellent.
Keeping very, very busy.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy, I would say. You've been extremely busy over there, I know. I've been kind of crazy down here.
Yeah, lots going on.
Yeah.
Lots going on. So, last week I kind of had to bail out on the show because I've been working on a big project that's kind of been consuming my time. And that was for a company called PMA, or the Photo Marketing Association.
Right.
And this is in regards to May being National Photography Month, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that came all about around Reagan time, something. I don't know. It's a long time ago, right?
Yeah, back in the 80s. Yeah, PMA. In case you guys aren't familiar with PMA, PMA is the Photo Marketing Association. They are a huge photography industry association. They they're the advocate for different legal rights and such. Back probably 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, they would put on an annual trade show at the Las Vegas Convention Center.
Not just a little trade show, but a huge trade show, like the size of CES, guys. I mean, it was massive. It
was huge. And, they really were a big player in the game. But then, you had other events come on board like, WPPI, Photo Plus Expo, Imaging USA, which kind of stole a little bit of their thunder as we started getting more of these spin-off type of conferences.
Right.
So, but they, back in the 80s, they were huge. And they were really pushing through Congress the idea of celebrating May as National Photography Month. So they were instrumental in actually getting that recognized. So it is an official month. You put it on the calendar, man. It's like all official.
Yeah, that's really cool. So my understanding is PMA is going to be kind of celebrating this by offering up some amazing packages that people can kind of enter to win, right?
That's right. So what I've been working on with them for the past couple weeks is a new website called National Photography Month. And it's national, it's natlphotomonth.org. And what it is, it's basically a site that is designed to celebrate photos, to celebrate the idea of creating images, sharing images, printing and displaying your images. So the site itself has a lot of informational content. It's got a lot of how-tos and inspirational articles, really great stuff from that standpoint. But we're also doing a big photo contest. And the photo contest actually is quite huge. I mean, PMA being a large organization, they've got access to a lot of really big companies who have donated some amazing prizes. And this is really something you got to head over to the website and check out for yourself. But we're doing two categories. We're doing the hobbyist photographer and the professional photographer to try and keep things fair. But in the hobbyist category, we've got 5 different places. We've got grand prize and then runner-ups, and the same with the professionals. But part of the hobbyist packages that you can get, we've got an Apple MacBook Pro 13-inch, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice prize right there.
Absolutely. We've got a Canon DSLR with a nice Tamron 16 to 30 16 to 300 millimeter lens.
Right.
So that's pretty awesome. We got cameras from Fuji and Panasonic and Sony and Nikon, and we've got an Apple iPad Mini. And this is only for the hobby photography category.
Right.
Then the professional category, we've got an iPhone 6 Plus, a Fuji X-T1 mirrorless, which is a really nice camera.
Yeah, that camera right there is about $1,300.
Yeah,
X-T1.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a Tamron 16 to 300 millimeter lens. We've got some design and print packages from H&H Color Lab. You know, we've got all kinds of stuff. A GoPro. Have you guys heard of Sync Seniors? Sync is a conference geared for kind of like senior portrait photography, school photography. And they do a big conference every year, and they're actually giving away free admission to the conference, which is a really great value. We've got some prizes from collages. We have a Creative Live class that you can get. That's like a $150 value.
Right.
And of course, Joe has been generous enough to donate a whole bunch of focus pyramids.
Yeah, so that works out. I tell you what, guys, I mean, you're talking a lot of money of prizes here. And that's all you have.
Thousands
of dollars. And that's all you have to do is send in a photo, you know, get a photo into the contest. Once again, it's National Photo Month. That's NATL photomonth.org.
Yep.
And go enter to win because, yeah, wow, that's amazing. That's
right.
a nice set of prizes. I'll take some of that all day long, right?
Yeah. I mean, and if you're a professional, whether you're a professional photographer or a retailer, maybe you have a store, maybe you have a framing shop, we have a whole bunch of pre-made, ready-to-use marketing materials on the site. So you can go there, download this material, and kind of capitalize on the idea of National Photography Month to give you an excuse, basically, to contact your customers.
Right.
Reach out with them, promote the photo contest, reach out to them with sales that maybe you have going on. We've got these blanks that are made up with National Photo Month graphics on it that you can insert your sale message. If you have a retail store, you can put that up in the store. Really, some cool stuff.
That is so important, and I'm glad you bring that up, is being able to connect with your past clients and do so in an informative way instead of a pushy sales kind of way. Give them good quality content, and it's always it's a hard sell. It's a hard thing to do. You want to reach out, you want to connect with them about this new promo you have or new whatever it is, and you just can't do it. You cannot be sell. You need to give, and then what I call soft sell at the end. So that's really, really good stuff. Definitely head over there and grab some of that. That works out perfectly. You can use that for your marketing for the entire month of May, and you'll look good.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of ready-made tweets and stuff for you too. Really, it's just a matter of copy paste. I mean, it really makes the job easy. So definitely, everybody's always looking for a new marketing tactic. This is a great reason to reach out to your client base. So definitely check it out. Take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, guys, we have you've got a lot of stuff this show to go through. But before we go any further, let's go ahead and take a quick break to hear from one of our sponsors.
Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer, and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener.
All right, so we're back, and we have the rumor again. You know, we love the rumors from Fuji of the X-T10 coming out just around the corner. So this sounds like an interesting camera. You know, we had talked about the X-T1
Right.
That's one of the prizes for the giveaway that we're talking about, the photo contest that we were just talking about. So the X-T10, I'm really interested in that as well.
Yeah. I'm a fan of mirrorless. This is a APS-C camera. And what I like about it, I guess if you would look at the X-T1 that is going to be given away, this would be like the little brother, I suppose. We can call it the little brother. So there are going to be two options out there. One is going to come with a XF 18 to 55, and the other one is an XC 16 to 50. It's a 16.3 megapixel APS-C sensor camera, which is really nice.
That's good.
Yeah, it's strong. I mean, that's good. Maximum ISO is 51,000. It's got 49 points of kind of like a hybrid autofocusing system. So that's important. The more points, the better for me. It helps a lot. It grabs focus. Now, this is kind of interesting. It grabs focus in 0.0 seconds. That is pretty quick. It's notorious. We've had problems in the past with some of the mirrorless cameras that are a little bit slow at locking up. This supposedly locks up, or is going to be locking up really quick. It boots up in a half a second. You can't beat that. And one of the important things that I find with mirrorless is, number one, it's quiet. So if you're shooting, let's say, for example, a wedding, of course,
right.
You don't want the priest or the rabbi to be like, shut it down, you're killing me here, all that clack, clack,
that can
clack.
be very, very annoying.
Right. So with the mirrorless, you can do it to basically, let's say, sound free, or at least a lot less noise. But it will also shoot all the way up to 32,000th of a second. So that's great, in daylight, as well as doing long exposures of 60 seconds. So I like that a lot. Obviously, I'm going to guess, there's no price on this. I'm going to guess if the big brother's at about 1,300, this is probably going to be under $1,000, maybe 700 to 900, I want to say, once it hits the U.S. market. Now, they're saying it's going to be coming, they're saying May, right around May 18th or so. That's the rumor. So it looks interesting. I like Fuji product anyways. So we'll see.
Fuji's got some great gear. I mean, obviously their printing equipment is top notch. All the pro labs use Fuji equipment, but their hardware is real nice too. I'm definitely a fan.
Yeah. And mirrorless. I think everything will end up going that way. All of the pros are going to be shooting mirrorless, within a year or two. Probably 2, I would say. They need to lock it down a little bit. But by 2.5 years, I bet you all the pro DSLRs will all be mirrorless by then. So, but anyways, moving forward, Apple pushes out critical security fix. We hear about Apple in the news all the time, and security. There's a ton of iPhone users, a ton of folks that are in that circle. So by them putting out these security fixes and on a regular basis, it's something that we need to make sure that we're doing and getting them down, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's an update for the Apple TV. So if you're an Apple TV user, go check that. There's an update there. iOS, of course, it seems like there's always an update for that, but that's good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And OS X gets an update as well. It's more of just a security patch. They're not really releasing it as so much as a dot release, like improved features or anything. It's more of just that security patch. So,
right. So the security patches go all the way back to 10.7, which is like Mountain Lion. But you do not hear anything for Snow Leopard for 10.6. So what does that mean, guys? That means basically if you're on 10.6, you need to move on, because that is a way of saying, listen, you're not supported any longer by Apple. So
I know. And you know what? That's a real problem for me, because I have a Mac Pro, an old Mac Pro, a 2006 running Snow Leopard.
Yeah.
And I believe I can update it to Mountain Lion.
Yeah.
But then that's it. And at this point, I mean, is there really any point of updating to Mountain Lion?
No.
I mean, I don't know.
It's planned, it's planned obsolescence.
Planned obsolescence. That's
it.
right.
So once that hardware, once you can no longer update the hardware with the software, then you're pretty much done. It's time to buy another one. So, but anyways, moving on, Fuji. Right, back in the news with their new firmware update. We were talking about the X-T1, and they just did, I think, a release of their new firmware. I think it was this week or it's coming up this week. that's going to kind of increase a lot of things. Like, for example, better autofocus. We know that autofocus is very important, and that locking, that quick locking, is so mission critical, especially if you're a shooter where things are moving all the time. You know, maybe you're shooting your kids, or maybe you're shooting a wedding, or you're shooting a model or whatever. But when you need to get that quick lockup, that's so important. And when you get a camera that's hunting a little bit, it's problematic. So they worked on that.
They're really focusing on the autofocus system.
Yeah.
With this firmware update. So if you are an X-T1 user, I think it's definitely something you're going to want to take advantage of, because there are some really nice improvements. Eye detection AF, which is really kind of cool. You know, I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's, you know, the whole idea of them constantly pushing out these firmware updates is great. You know, a lot of times you'll see, I know I'm a Canon shooter for many years, and I know sometimes I've just screamed out there continuously, like, can you please just update this? This is a problem. Update this. And they sometimes are lethargic, you know, and it takes forever for them to make these updates. I do like the companies that push out those updates when we ask for them, or as quick as possible. I know Fuji's been on it. So, you know, kudos to Fuji for that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on to Canon. So Canon actually has a recall out on the Rebel T6S and the T6i. That's, you know, kind of sad, but par for the course. Nikon went through their problems there with their recalls as well. So,
yeah, it kind of is what it is. If your serial number begins with a 01 or a 02, you're going to want to kind of look into it and probably send in the camera. They will replace. So that's good. And what it is it has to do with like spots on the sensor, and it's just, you know, it's an issue, and it's been an issue for some time. But, you know, once again, they see that there's an issue. They're going and fixing it. They're going to be, you know, there's going to be a lot of returns of these cameras, and that's just the way it is.
It's a shame, because those cameras are just coming out. They're just hitting the market now. So, yeah, Canon's saying it's irregularities on an optical layer located in front of the image sensor.
Yeah, I love that.
So, yeah, that is an image sensor problem. I mean, there's no fixing absolutely. It yourself. I mean, that is a recall issue. You're going to have to send it in. Yeah,
it's producing like dark circular patterns on the photographs, which, you know, who the heck wants that, right? So, right, exactly. They do have to replace the sensor on them. But let's, you know, the way I look at it, that's fantastic. Send it in, whatever. You get it back.
Yeah, they're doing it. They're doing it for free. So you're gonna take advantage of it.
Absolutely. You'll get a new sensor, and that basically brings your camera back to ground zero, you know, and you have, it's new. Because what happens is, not only will they replace a sensor, they do a full, you know, 100-point inspection or whatever it is. And you'll know that everything is perfect. So it's not bad. It's good. Send it in.
That's right.
So anyways, moving on, I think it was last week. No, it was the week before. We were talking about Flickr, and we were saying how they were doing certain things. They were taking away photo, and they were moving that from this to that. And it was kind of problematic. You know, I was listening to it. I'm looking at what they're doing. I'm like, you know, this does not forebode well for Flickr at all. They're having problems. They have over 112 million users. It's a lot of users, but a lot of these users just have not been happy as of late. So, you know, I predicted it was 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, you know, this does not look good. I just don't. And just yesterday, a day before, you know, we just read in the news what happens. Hernandez, who is the person that was the main chief, let's say, of Flickr, internal to Yahoo, is gone. He's like, here's my 2 weeks. You know, you guys have been fabulous, you know, but I'm out of here. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know, the problem with Flickr is competition. You know, in the beginning, Flickr was the name in the game. I mean, they were really the only place to go for that community for sharing your photos.
Exactly.
But now Instagram and Facebook, you know, Twitter even, you know, these have all kind of come into play for sharing your photography and commenting on your photography and even building communities around your photography that Flickr really isn't needed as much anymore. And they've been grasping to try and monetize their system for a very long time. You know, they were doing stock photography licensing as well. They were doing printing that turned into a major problem as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of bad things happening over there.
Yeah,
it's concerning for sure.
I mean, the pros, they were uploading their images for many years, and all of a sudden found out that through wall art, they were Flickr selling their artwork, basically selling their photos. So of course, he had to go and throw himself on his sword. Mea culpa, I'm sorry. Yes, and here's the refunds and all that. That was no fun. But now they launched a 4.0, the latest version, and it's just kind of more of the same. I just don't see it. They have so many people. Look, since Hernandez is gone, they need to get someone in there that can kind of take the reins, follow his lead, make those changes, but make them stick, and then make the people that they have there happy. And maybe it's a refocus, maybe go straight, a professional, or maybe go straight consumer like Apple did, where Apple just kind of slighted all professionals for a year or two, by getting rid of products. But, maybe they just need to refocus. I mean, I tell you what, they gave everyone, what was it, a terabyte free of cloud backup of images or storage of images.
Your high-res photos,
which is, unbelievable. That's fabulous. But, hey, now it's to a point where people are just not happy. The one thing that they did do this week is they released a bulk download app, let's say. Now, there's been apps in the past to do this exact same thing, but they've always failed. They've been horrendous. But now it's internal to Flickr, whereas at any time you can upload, it's bi-directional. You can upload your photos into Flickr, but you can also download now all that whole terabyte of photos straight to your machine. So if you guys are out there and you're kind of not feeling Flickr anymore, and you're like, oh, wow, how am I going to get all my pictures back? Now you can.
Now you have an option. Yeah. Okay. More writing on the walls, right, guys? I mean, with these latest announcements, and now all of a sudden a feature to download all of your images in bulk. Right. I mean, kind of what is that saying? Are they planning to shut it down? I mean, I don't want to start rumors.
No, I know. It
we're
has
not
that
the rumor
feeling.
mill. We report on rumors. We don't generate them. But I mean, if you kind of read the tea leaves, you read between the lines here, are they planning to kind of shut the service down at some point?
Well, look, Apple did the same thing. They, Lightroom was huge. Apple said, hey, Aperture is fantastic. We like it, but we're kind of tired of it. We don't want to deal with it anymore. So what did they do? They created, an app, or they allowed for that app to be created to just swiftly import all of your Aperture photos, settings, and everything straight into Lightroom, right into Adobe. Right. Now, Apple is not fond of Adobe, but they're like, hey, we're kind of done with the whole thing. And what did they do? They went from that professional into the consumer. They ended up coming up with the Photos app, which is, it's great, but it's just not professional grade, quality stuff. So, maybe Flickr just needs to do the same thing, kind of refocus and see what they want to do and head down that one road, because there's definitely an issue going on over there. So hopefully they stay around and capitalize on that 112 million people on board. I mean, that's a lot of people. If you can't monetize that, what are you doing? I don't know. There's got to be a way.
Yeah, that's a lot of people that have pro accounts that have paid for those accounts over the years. That's also a lot of advertising eyeballs. Yeah. So you're going to see a shift. You're definitely going to see a shift. You're going to see them, I think, kind of cut some of their losses and kind of refocus what Flickr is.
Yeah. They're going to have to. So, anyways, moving on. Adobe Lightroom. I'm a fan. I've been using it for quite some time. And as they kind of move forward, I've always said, hey, they're going to be moving to a CC model. And now eventually you're going to see Lightroom is no longer available for purchase. You're not going to be able to download it. Right. Well, thankfully, I was wrong with Lightroom.
At least
6.
for this version.
For this version. Maybe 7 is going to be, maybe 7 won't exist. It'll be CC period. But as of right now, guys, if you want to move from, 5 or 5.2, 5.5, whatever, 5.7, whatever the latest is, to 6, you can do so. And you could do so for either buying it at straight out $149, or you can do so by upgrading your old version for $79, which is really not bad. And they have a lot of cool features, right, Trev, that they've added in that they're giving the people that do upgrade to 6 from 5. They've added a lot of features, right?
Yeah, they have. So from the features that you get in the standalone software, I mean, those are nice. But there is a large handful of features in the CC version only that you will not get.
Right.
And that mainly centers around your syncing, your sharing,
cloud,
and moving your images to the mobile devices,
right.
being able to edit on the mobile devices, syncing back with your main library, all that stuff. Because by nature, that requires that syncing service, which is Creative Cloud.
Right.
So in and of itself, I mean, if you want the standalone software, then you're going to be sacrificing that. My feeling is, though, there's lots of other services out there that provide cloud backups, in syncing, and things like that.
Yeah.
It really, I guess, depends on what your needs are. But if you don't really need the benefits of what Creative Cloud offers, I don't see the need to have to pay that monthly.
So kind of looking at the benefits, guys. So if you're on like 5.7 or 5.8, whatever is the latest on the 5 side, and you move to 6, what you're going to get is HDR, a new version of like putting HDR images internal to Lightroom. You're going to get that. You're also going to get panos. So you'll be able to stitch a whole bunch of images nice and quick and easily. You won't have to, like in the past, if we want to do a pano, what we would do is go into Lightroom, make our modifications, make sure our color and everything is kind of synced up. It makes it easier, and then dump it straight into Photoshop and let Photoshop do the pano. Merge the photos. And of course, Photoshop does a wonderful job, and now Lightroom is doing it. And as we said in the past, time is money. We want to be able to do as much as we can internal to Lightroom or whatever you want to use for your image editing, and not go into Photoshop. Because as soon as you go into Photoshop, you go down a road of
turns into a time suck.
Yeah. So instead of an hour or half an hour or 20 minutes, you're doubling the time because you're in Photoshop, and it's kind of an endless type of thing. So also, supposedly with the GPU performance, supposedly it's going to be faster. I don't know. I know that Lightroom has been notorious slow. One of the things that we talked about in the past was Corel Aftershot Pro 2. I did some testing on that, and it was much faster than Lightroom for doing edits. So there is faster image editing software out there. Besides Lightroom. But regardless, also facial recognition was introduced. That's kind of cool, right?
That's kind of cool. I mean, that's kind of a consumery thing that they're moving more into, what's considered the pro tool. So that's kind of interesting. But, keep in mind, Adobe still does consider Lightroom to be a consumer-friendly product.
Right.
Even though the pros are using it, this is part of the reason why it's still available for standalone purchase. Right. Because they do feel, and they've even said this on their blog and stuff, that Lightroom is a consumer-level product for them.
Yeah.
So this is something to take into account, that you're going to see a lot of these consumer-level features starting to roll into it, because that's part of who their target audience is.
Yeah. And they have the entire, all photographers at this point, let's say the majority are in that Adobe camp in one way or another, be it video, be it illustration, be it whatever. So moving on, video slideshows, very cool. Stills, music, effects, the whole 9 yards. You can do it inside of Lightroom now, which is neat. That's always cool. Also HTML5. Based web galleries. Now that's big. Now the old Lightroom,
that's good.
Yeah, that old Lightroom, it would use Java, or it would just use standard, or it would do Flash, and we know Flash just doesn't work.
Not iOS compatible.
Yeah. So doing actual straight-on HTML5 web-based galleries, that's great. That means that everyone can use it, and I'm going to guess they're probably going to be mobile-friendly, because they know how important mobile-friendly is now, and that Google is actually marking you down if you're not mobile-friendly. So they're probably going to be mobile-friendly, those galleries.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Better filter brushes, brush control, and whatnot. That's good for me, because I'm making filters for the photographers out there. I have 2 or 3 different filter pieces of software that are Lightroom based. And sometimes people are like, how do you install it? Or how do you do this? Or how do you do that? Because it was very kludgy. Well, now some of that kludginess, if that's a word, is going to be gone. So,
yeah, that's good. That's good. And then, of course, we got to have the social sharing capabilities. So now you can share with Facebook, Twitter, and Flickr.
Yeah.
So that's always nice. I mean, again, kind of consumery type of features, but why not? if you can have them, why not have them?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sorry, Trev, we need to get out of here for another week, huh?
Yep, long show, but good show, lots of information. So if people want to connect with you outside of Digital Photography Cafe, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, so you guys can reach me on Twitter, and that's at Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H.
Great, and you can connect with me on Twitter. It's at Trevor Current.
So, all right, everyone, we are done for yet another week. You can get all the show notes from this episode by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/186. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/dphotocafe, or call our comment line 440-345-6707. Once again, that's 440-345-6707. And we will see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Current and Joseph Christina. Subscribe to our YouTube channel with any compatible device by visiting youtube.com/dphotocafe. Be sure to subscribe to our audio feed through iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps, or through RSS. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.